Hi, Alison.
Hi. I can't see anybody. I can see the lights. Hello, all. How are you? So I assume you've just seen the video of my journey through butchering. Fantastic. So I just wanted to introduce myself. So I'm Butcher Girl Alison, and I've been a butcher for almost 20 years now. So I didn't really think I'd ever be a butcher, but then it was something that I was really passionate about. So I was always going to be involved in the food industry in some way. I didn't want to be a chef. So I decided to go to university and become there we go, we're a bit higher, to go to university and become a food stylist. So I styled food to be photographed for magazines. After I finished my degree, as you can see, I did a lot of travel throughout London and the US. After that, I got really obsessed with the art of butchering, and there was so much creativity, and I felt that this was really a path that I wanted to take. So I stopped everything I was doing and decided to start my butcher's apprenticeship. I really wish that at that time, when I was at school, when I was your age, that this was, I had a talk like this really, so that I could actually have considered this to be something that is a profession and it's a craft. And I'm really passionate about bringing people back into the industry, the butchering. I think it's an art that's really been lost in the modern world, but I'm incredibly passionate about educating people now, and I want people to see that being a retail butcher you're not really stuck to being in a shop. So you can see where butchering has taken me, and that's something that I want to show you, that it's not just a retail shop is not the end of where you stay forever. You can do anything with it, and now that you've got social media on your side, I think that it's an absolute advantage to you. So today I decided that I would demonstrate how to make a sausage, because I thought it was a little bit more engaging, and you can learn something and perhaps go home and decide to make sausages, or I guess your journey as a butcher starts at home really. So you can start marinating meat, barbecuing meat, and I thought I'd just do a nice sausage for you so you can see that the possibilities are endless with creating a good sausage. So let me just hop behind my bench and I'll get started. So I first started butchering in London. When I was in London, I worked in a beautiful old butcher shop. So this is where I became really, really engaged in the industry. I loved the banter that was going on out the back, and I was watching, such a male-dominated industry. I thought, oh, I wonder if I could actually ever do that. And then I came home and decided to start my apprenticeship. So it was the banter out the back, just the craft that went into it. So I decided, why not? I put everything on hold and went and did my apprenticeship as a butcher, and I really haven't looked back. So today I thought we could do a bit of a Aussie sausage. We either can do a Vegemite and cheese sausage, or we can do a peanut butter and broccoli sausage. So I'm going to let you decide, and then I will start the process and talk you through it. What would you like to do today? Hands up for Vegemite and cheese. Okay, that's a few hands. Maybe Mark, you'll have to tell me. Peanut butter and broccoli? Not so much.
I think the Vegemite wins, Alison.
What's that?
I think the Vegemite wins.
Okay, fantastic. It's a broccoli that probably shows you all off, right? Anything green. Okay, so I've got 2 kilos of, I've got 1 kilo of meat here actually. So it's just some beef mince that I've minced up earlier. And then what we do is we add some sausage meal. So the sausage meal acts as an emulsifier and also a preserve, it preserves it for up to 7 days. So what I'm going to do is place this in here, and then I'm going to mix it with a little bit of water. About 150 maybe, I'll just see. There we go. A tablespoon of your good old Vegemite. Now the reason I'm mixing it into here is just to make sure that it all blends in really well. So there we go. That won't take long. And then I'm going to pop my gloves on. I just do it by eye, so you can taste. I think I've got the measurements down pat because I've done it enough, so I just do it by eye. But you could do maybe 200 grams of cheese and then 1 tablespoon of Vegemite. So that's coming together nicely. I'm just getting that mixed in there. So I just want you to know that this little number here, which is my mincer, that came from Aldi, so you don't need anything too expensive. And this I just ordered online, which was like $50, a sausage filler. So we've done that. I've added some cheese to the mince. Let's go. That looks like a nice amount. I like a cheesy sausage. Then we mix that through. And what I'm going to do is, firstly, I'm going to mix this up with my hands, and then I'm going to put it through the mincer so that it mixes in really well and it distributes throughout the sausage. I mean, there's so many creative things you can do with sausage. More and more butchers are getting more creative. But Vegemite and cheese is a great one. I think every butcher should have that in their shop because it's definitely something that would sell to the kids. Yeah, so while I was doing my apprenticeship here in Australia, I moved to a few different butcher shops because I really wanted to get around the whole, like, I think sometimes it's important to move so you learn different techniques through different butchers. And after that, I was approached, after I finished my apprenticeship, I was approached to go to China. And I went to China for 6 years and I was an ambassador for Australian beef. So I would travel China, Southeast Asia, and train people how to cut meat. And now, since I've been back, I decided, since COVID, that I wanted to start my own business. Butcher Girl was always going in the background. Sorry, that's just turned off. Butcher Girl was always going in the background. And then I decided I would just create a studio. So in my studio, I train people all over the world, like through Zooms and all those kind of things. So training people on how to cut meat. I'm just going to turn this on. It's going to be a little bit loud. So let's do that. So I always take my hand. Great for a thin sausage.
Austin, can you hear us? maybe press mute and then go on. You split that into
Perfect. I love it. It's like knitting. Right, let me walk right in.
yeah.
I'll just show you. Are we there? Can you see that, Mark?
Yeah. Yes. Cello was just having incident. Having a few audio issues, Alison.
Oh, was it my mincing?
But maybe.
Or has it been? How's that? Can you
Seems
see
to be
now?
fine now. Yep.
Keep going. All right. So now I'm just going to fill my sausage filler. So I've popped a little bit of oil around here so it slips down nicely. I've got some collagen casings which look like this. See that? So you can get natural ones or you can get collagen ones. So these ones are not as messy as the natural ones. The natural ones tend to be a little bit slippery, a bit more work goes into preparing them, but these are really simple and easy. So I wet my hands. This is where it gets wet. Wet my hands, and what we're going to do is we're going to put it into the sausage filler like this. And push it down real so there's no pockets of air bubbles as we pump it through, because you don't want air in your sausage. So it's quite a little sausage maker. You can get really big ones, but I like this for home. My little boy and I make sausages together all the time. I love making sausage.
Whoever's got the bubble gum, please stop popping it. Thank you.
What was that?
No, sorry.
That's all right. So this is where it gets wet. I'm just going to put these away. This is where it gets a little bit wet and messy. I'm just going to put that down there so it slips. Make sure that's packed really tight. Place this on and then start pushing down till it hits the sausage. And now I'm just going to move. Can you see there, Mark?
Yeah.
Okay. Won't be a sec. Now I'm just going to pump my sausage through, okay? So you need to grab the end of the nozzle. I give a light little bit of pressure there so that you get it filled nice and evenly. So it should start coming in a minute. Oh, there we go. There we go. You don't want it too tight or too loose. Just nice. There we go. See that? Probably way cheaper to make your own sausage nowadays too. So there's absolutely no reason why you can't do this at home. Look at that. And we're at the end. There we have it. Look at that. Okay, so I'm just going to clip the ends off. I'm going to tie it. This is where you need your water, because it gets quite... You want it to, when you're linking them, you want them to slip through each other. So let's get started linking. So linking is a little bit like knitting, like I said. I make a nice sausage about that size because my little boy will probably have them for dinner. And then even it up. Everyone links their sausages differently, I found, throughout the butcher shops, but I found my own little way of knitting. Let me get the... I find it really quite therapeutic, making your sausage, linking sausages. So all around the same length, then I give it a bit of a twist, and then I go again. pinch, and then through like that, and then again. And then again. And then we've got nice little chipolata, kind of mini chipolatas, in between chipolatas and a normal sausage, but these are the right size for me. You can make them whatever size you like. So there we go. Sausage, Vegemite and cheese sausage. I'll show you. Look at that. So what I'd recommend doing is leaving it in the fridge probably for a day so it sets a bit, and then throw it on the pan. I always start my sausage on a cold pan so that it doesn't burst the skins. So that is pretty much my presentation for today. Was there any questions anyone had?
Alison, where can the students or anyone wanting to make sausages buy those skins from?
Okay, so for those ones, I only wanted two little things like this. So I asked my butcher and he gave them to me. But if you wanted to order them, there's Highgate is a really good place to purchase all these kind of things like knives, skins. They have everything. And they're a lot cheaper. And the meat, I just got it minced once at the butcher shop. And then, of course, you mix it through and mince it again at home. But honestly, that little mincer was probably about $50. And I've used it a lot. Any other questions?
Have any other questions? No?
So I also wanted to mention that I've worked in high-end hotels. I've worked in, restaurants, high-end restaurants. I think, I will tell you a little story from my days in Shanghai. So I got to meet some incredibly famous people doing what I was doing. I was working in a Shangri-La, which is a really beautiful hotel in Shanghai, and it had a beautiful steakhouse attached to it. So people would come from everywhere to go to this amazing steakhouse. And I was working on the floor. I was basically cutting all day downstairs and then coming up at night and serving the clientele because it was Australian beef on the menu. And one night, a big table of about 40 people was booked, and it was Michael Jordan. So he came for dinner and I had to cut up my meat. The meat for him, I had a display of dry-aged ribs. I took it to him on a trolley, and he wanted to talk about Australian beef and what the best cuts were. So I gave him a demonstration on how to cut the rib, and then I served him 6 ribeyes. I've also met Arnold Schwarzenegger. He used to come in a lot. Captain America. It was a really amazing opportunity. So who would have thought that butchering could take me so far and wide, and to meet incredible people like that?
Well, fantastic, Alison. On behalf of everyone here at the Careers Expo and MINTRAC, we'd just like to thank you for your time and putting on this presentation that you've given these guys today.
Oh, thank you very much, Mark, for having me. I just hope that you will, if you have any questions, anyone, you can follow me on Instagram if you want to see a little bit more. It's Butcher Girl Alison of what I do. But if anyone needs any support or mentoring and they're thinking about choosing this as a career path, I'm more than happy to speak to anyone. Please reach out.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alison.
My pleasure, Mark. Thank you.
No worries. Chat soon. Bye.
Yes. Bye-bye.